This is what every Christian needs to know about Islam. This is not a good time to be ignorant about what Islam teaches. Not every Christian needs to know a ton about Islam, but some of the basics, I would say, need to be common knowledge among Christians. Islam comes after Christianity, and it has a lot of responses to Christianity. Just as a Muslim is growing up learning about Islam, he's learning certain criticisms of Christianity. It would be pretty helpful for Christians to know what Muslims think about it. There is a minority of Christians who will say, no, I don't need to know anything about that religion. I've got something superior. What I'm hearing is we're supposed to cultivate an atmosphere of ignorance here about Islam. And that is very, very dangerous. A lot of the people who preach Islam, the Dawah guys, they thrive in an atmosphere of ignorance. They will go into an area and figure out anything you like, anything that is prized in your area, and they will tell you that Islam is the source of that. So if they walk into an area and people believe in the importance of women's rights, the message of Islam becomes, Muhammad was a champion of women's rights. He's pretty much the greatest feminist who ever lived. You guys are laughing. I'm glad, because there are times when people would not laugh because they didn't know any better. The Muslim preacher goes into an area like the West in general, where science is valued. The Quran is a scientific masterpiece. It's filled with scientific insights. If you don't know what the Quran actually says and how absurd that is, guess what? People convert based on that. The spread of Islam in the African American community in the 1960s, the message that was being preached was Christianity is the white man's religion. Islam liberates people. If you know the history of who bought, owned, sold, and traded black African slaves, Muhammad did, Christians eventually just ended slavery in Europe. Fast forward several centuries, there are no slaves around. And you want a cheap source of labor, and you want to get some slaves, you can't go to Europe anymore. Where was the slave trade thriving? In Africa. Why? Not Christianity. In the 1960s, no one was in a position to respond to that. No one knew that Muhammad bought, owned, sold, and traded black African slaves. No one knew that. So no one could correct it. So that allows a religion to spread in an atmosphere of ignorance. Now, the sources are all around us. Anyone who wants to just go on the internet can find the sources. What's the excuse now? I don't know. Ignorance is some sort of virtue. I don't know when that happened, but I disagree. We have reached a time in history when Christians need to understand what we're dealing with here. And that takes away Islam's most powerful asset. There are still lots of people who don't know what they're dealing with here. If that changes, they've lost their most powerful weapon right now.